Talk and Rock Radio, where friends meet at the intersection of life, inspiration, and music. Here's your host, Rick Kern.
Welcome, everyone, to Talk and Rock Radio. My guest today is a guitarist, a vocalist, a flautist, and oh yeah, that doesn't mean that he likes flautas necessarily. In El Paso, he probably would like flautas. He's also a songwriter and a band leader. He was once a roadie for Hall & Oates. He's originally from El Paso, Texas, and worked in New York, New Jersey, and Maryland, and now lives in Ruidoso, New Mexico. Welcome, my musician brother from a different mother, Rich Chorné. How you doing, bro?
Hey, I'm good. Glad to be here. Glad to be live.
glad to have you with us, man. You know, we need to add one more category of something that you are. Top Blues Album of the Year Artist for the state of New Mexico 2023.
Yeah, how about that? I'm pleased with that.
That is so cool, man. What an achievement, man. We're really proud of you, man, down here in El Paso. It happened, and I'm just so happy for you, man.
Well, thank you very much. I really appreciate it, and you know, I'm floored by the honor. But, you know, we worked hard at it, so we'll accept it.
Yeah, you really did. Now, not to make you feel old or anything, but, you know, I just realized we've known each other for 55 plus years.
You counted.
I know. We both go back to around 68, 69. We were playing both at the Knights Club, at the Roadway Inn there at Bassett. You had performed with the Sojourners, of course, a real popular folk rock band here in town, as well with Joe Renteria, right?
Right, that's correct.
Yeah. Joe, I talked to him about a year or so ago, and he's still doing his thing out in L.A., he's doing movies and everything.
Yeah, I heard he's an actor, and I heard he was in that Queen of the South.
Yeah. La Reina del Sur. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. It's a pretty good series.
That's a binge movie.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, I've watched every one of them. Going back to those years, Rich, what are some of your fondest memories or takeaways of those days?
Well, what was it? The guy that owned the Knights Club, Bud Nichols, and he'd go like this, and he'd introduce the band, and he was a little bit awkward, and we'd make fun of him. But that's sort of an inside joke. No, I think the most important thing was the Roadway Inn was a sort of like a casino. They opened up their ballrooms, and we had all the ballrooms open at one time, which meant close to 1,000 people.
Yeah,
and you know, and when Joe did a show, he was like Frank Sinatra, and we backed him up. And you couldn't get it any better than that. I mean, the other thing we did was we used to fly to Las Vegas, and we did a show there at the Sands. Because Mr. Chagrin took us there.
Yeah.
And
every time he went to Vegas, they rolled the red carpet out for Lee Chagra, man.
Correct, yeah. And I saw him play blackjack with 4 hands and about $1,000 on each one.
Yeah.
And so that was fun.
Yeah, I hear you, man. Well, years later, we both had daytime jobs, and you left El Paso, I left El Paso, and then you ended up going all over the place. But I know in 2008, you asked me to be a part of a panel discussion that involved a celebration or a tribute to Norman Petty. That was a great event because you had the Fireballs there, you had Peggy Sue from Buddy Holly's camp. It was really a neat event that you coordinated, man, and put together. You want to talk about that a little bit?
Well, the people that were running the Hubbard Museum at the time were very, they were pretty, they wanted to have programs, and they were pretty cooperative, and I just offered to do this program. Again, the people that were there, you have the list of who attended, but there was a strong relationship between the people that I knew. For instance, Danny Lucas. Who else was on that list? But anyway, the point is that I felt at the time we should do something for Norman Petty. And, I recorded there, I think twice. And it turns out that that's quite not too many people recorded at Norman Petty's. But, at that time, there were just a few studios in the country. You go to LA, you go to Atlanta, maybe you go to Detroit, you go to New York, and then you go to Clovis.
Well, it must have been pretty good. You had Orbison there, you had Buddy Holly there,
right.
Peggy Sue was part of that. The Roses, the backup vocal band, the Roses, they were incredible. Of course, when you think about Norman and Vi Petty, his big hit, their big hit was Mood Indigo. They really did well with that song, when they were their trio. And a lot of history came out of that studio, man. A great place.
Right. It was quite an experience. He went out of the way. He had a sort of a built-in reverb chamber that he always showed off. I think it was in his attic. And, it was just a long room with a microphone on one side, speaker on the other. But he got a good reverb sound, and that was his pride. And then Richard Petty, I guess it was either his brother or an in-law, he gave me all the Petty family pictures. And unfortunately, they died when my computer crashed, and I don't have them anymore. But he was really, trying to show me all about that family, and he did,
Yeah, it was too bad you lost them, but maybe you can find somebody that can pull them back for you. You never know.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I'll try.
Get somebody on that hard drive, and you might be able to, salvage them.
Yeah, my hard drive got hit by lightning through the house. Nothing I could do about it.
Oh, wow.
But it could be they hit just the directory, and the files are still there. Well, I don't know.
Just a little bit after that event that you asked me to be a part of in 2009, you and I actually got to play together. That was our first year to do the annual production that I started in 2009 called Border Legends of El Paso. But what was really cool is that you were part of that very first show that we did. We did it for 8 years, but you played with the Sojourners that night. It was really cool. And
they hadn't played in years, and we threw something together, and it was good to see Ron and Sue, and it was a neat gig.
Yeah, I couldn't find Bert Peters, man. So, tough gig. I ended up playing drums, and it was a blast. I just had so much fun being a part of the Sojourners. In fact, the irony of that group, that story, is that the first time that I made contact with my future wife was at the Jet Set Club when the Sojourners were playing, and I looked over. Actually, my dad pointed it out. He said, That's Sharon over there. Remember her from the show that you all were in last year or whatever? And so I looked over, and sure enough, so I was there with a date, seeing the Sojourners. And so I said, I'll be back in a second. I acted like I was going to the restroom, and I kind of snuck around the club and went over and asked her for her phone number. She was there with Rick Stone that night. Just,
Wow.
they were friends. Went over and got her phone number. About a week later, we started dating. And about 3 years later, we got married.
Good
So
for you.
we've been married ever since.
I'm glad you did that. Well, that was, that the whole thing about El Paso at that time was people were going on maybe 5 days a week. They would go out on Mondays, and some people had gigs on Monday. I think I did. And,
Well,
the people just didn't go home.
that's what I loved about the Knights Club, man, is that it was one of the few places in El Paso that had entertainment 6 nights a week, sometimes even 7.
Right.
We were the house band there for at least 3 years. When I was there, Jim Reese was with us, and Dick Greco, Gail Hageman, and then we added Charo, the trumpet player, and we had numerous guys that came in and out and worked with us that were part of the 62nd Army Band out at Fort Bliss that would come in and work with us some. But you know what, guys, you and I could sit here and talk about the past forever.
It was loaded with events and loaded with people. You talk about that Army band. I played with them too.
Oh yeah.
They had a stage band, but they didn't have an electric bass player. So I would do gigs at Fort Bliss with long hair. And
Well, did you remember Mark Cianfrani? Was he in there when you were there?
Mark was sort of the band leader, guitar player.
Yeah.
And, I don't know if he's alive or not. Is he?
No, he's not. He passed several years ago. He was a cop out in L.A., but he was in our band for at least a year, and we had some great times together. I mean, I remember times when he would hold a guitar up and play it with his teeth. Did he ever do that with you?
Yeah.
Oh.
He was. He was. The big thing back then was Blood, Sweat, and Tears in Chicago and all. And we tried to emulate that stuff. And that was good. Those guys were they were amazing. That was the Army band. They had to be good just to be in it.
Exactly. Well, and Mark, he was a phenomenal player, man. He was a good singer. I mean, we did all of those songs that you were mentioning, BS&T, and he was just incredible entertainer, man. But
Right.
well, what I'd like to do right now is come forward and talk about today and what's been going on in the last week. I mean, I want to go ahead and introduce your partner in crime there, man, the guy that owns the studio you're in right now. There he is, Richard Cagle. How you doing, buddy?
Doing good. How are you today?
Fine, man. Richard is the owner, proprietor of the Montrose recording studio there in Ruidoso. And I wanted to ask you, man, first of all, what's that?
T.
Montrose.
It's got a T. Montrose.
Oh, yeah. Well, I thought that's what I said, Montrose. I didn't say Trose. I said Montrose, but it's a T. Anyway, what brought you to Ruidoso, Rich? Why? I mean, you came from a very large city to a very small one. Had you been to Ruidoso before, or what was the impetus that got you there?
Well, me and my wife found this place about 35 years ago. And we always said, one of these days we're going to move up here.
Oh,
and
wow.
So we finally did I guess been here 8 years now.
All right. And did you and Chorné meet up there, or how did you all get to know each other?
Yeah, there was the first person I met up here that was a musician, was also a DJ at the radio station here. Her name was Susan Cobb. And so she goes, I know somebody I want to introduce you to. And so she arranged for us to have dinner, us three. And that's how I met Richie.
Right.
All right. Well, that's cool, man. Well, it's been a great partnership for you guys, of which I will show here in a little bit as we get to some of the music. You've got quite a history yourself, Richard. You know, you're a writer, you're a producer, you're an audio engineer, you're a band leader. You front one of the best bands I've heard in a long time, man. Richard's got a band called the Voodoo Choir, Richard Cagle and the Voodoo Choir. And I tell you, man, when I listen to these selections on YouTube, I'm going, he's got to have the best musicians in Houston in that band.
He did.
I did.
Man, I tell you, I couldn't listen enough. They're rock and roll stew. Man, I love that song.
Actually, that's one of the ones. Whenever that album came out, and we did really, really good in Europe. And in London, we had a blues station pick up the album, and they loved it so much they were friends with the rock station, and they threw it over to them. And so I was getting blues play on the blues station, and rock and roll stew was getting played on the rock station.
Oh, man.
About a month and a half, 2 months. And it was great. I was sitting there going like, we're getting played in London.
Right.
Well, the other night when I went to bed, I was listening to some of your, clips off the YouTube, and there's some in there, man, that I just really, really liked. And I'm going to have to go back and research again, because there's one of them where I'm trying to figure out the time signatures, man. I mean, everything else I know, it's pretty straight blues and all that. But, man, there's one that you're doing, and you might know the one I'm talking about. I can't think of it. But, man, you've got about 2 or 3 different time signatures going on in there.
You know which one it is?
No.
Oh, when I find it again, I'll send it to you. Yeah. But being a drummer, I'm always thinking about, okay, that's interesting. Yeah, a 5/4, okay, 7/8, okay, that's cool. But this was pretty mind blowing. I'm going, it was interesting though, very, very interesting. I want you to talk a little bit about your history. I know you have produced and managed Carolyn Wonderland and Johnny Winters both, right?
Well, I recorded Johnny Winters.
Okay.
I recorded Johnny Winters back with Uncle John Turner, which was his original drummer whenever he got signed to Columbia, and Jeff Gantz. And that went down in 92. But okay. Carolyn Wonderland, I picked her up about the same time I started managing her in 92. So, and worked with her, did her first 2 albums, got her going, got her a major publishing deal with Warner Brothers, and then also got her offers by major record companies. So
you were on the phone a lot with Nancy Fly, her agent, I guess, right?
No, we were doing it all our own. Nancy wasn't in the picture till Carolyn moved to Austin.
Oh, I see. Yeah. And that's about the time we got to know her. We first saw her in El Paso when she did the State Line Summer Concert Series here. And then after that, we kind of followed her still. She played a lot in Austin, Threadgills and in a lot of places, but a great talent. We really enjoyed her. She was a good player. Now, I understand you've got a new Voodoo Choir album coming out?
Yeah, we're almost finished with it. We're probably, I'm thinking about 2 to 3 weeks away.
Okay.
We'll probably schedule it to go out in a couple of months.
Are you gonna master it there, or are you having somebody else master it?
I'm gonna have somebody else master it. Yeah.
Okay. Now, do you still have a presence in Houston with a studio there, or is it all in Ruidoso now?
I still have a studio there.
Oh, you do? Okay.
We could walk in and start recording there if we wanted to.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Is that at a house, or is that a commercial studio front, or what? What do you?
It's in a house. I actually I love recording in a house. So, and I just go in and fix it up and sound treat it and everything, and I build a control room in it, and then that's where we go.
Fantastic. And all the guys in your band, are they all living there in Houston?
Yes, they do.
Okay.
The thing is, this album, I'm not using those guys. I'm using all New Mexico musicians.
Ah,
boy,
okay.
do I good ones.
Yeah,
It took me a while to find them, but once I found them, I go like, Lord have mercy.
Well, and that kind of leads me to the next question, and this is for both of you guys. When you all made the move from Houston and El Paso, you obviously moved from larger talent pools and venues for performers to do their thing. How did that impact you guys moving up to the Pines of Ruidoso?
Well, you first, I guess.
Well, at first, whenever we had the home built here, and this studio is actually underneath the house, all right, of our home. But I was always going back and forth. We'd just come up here and stay for a week or two, and then we'd go back, and I'd just go back and start touring or go and playing or recording other people and doing whatever I do in Houston. And so that didn't happen too much. The COVID thing's really what stopped everything. Mm-hmm. Whenever COVID came, I didn't even go back. I didn't even see my band. In fact, we were working on an album there, and then it was too dangerous to be going into Houston, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Just too much illness there. So we didn't, and since then, I bet you I hadn't been back to Houston since the COVID was over.
Yeah.
Maybe 3 times.
Right.
So.
Well, Richard, tell me, what do you, obviously leaving El Paso and going up there, a great place to go and live, and especially if you like tranquility. But how about, back to my question about venues and musician pools and stuff like that to pull from? Was it kind of a shock at first, or did you fall right into all the places that were there to play?
Well, the biggest difference was I guess the emphasis on a bit of country music. But I was very lucky. I fell into a bunch of really excellent musicians. Tim McCaslin.
Randy Jones.
Well, yeah, Randy Jones. But I started out, when we were in college, we came up here and played, at the local places here. So I was familiar with, what there was. But I did about a 3-year stint at Casablanca that some people remember.
I do.
And we played almost every weekend. And then I was sort of in charge, and I'd put somebody else in maybe once a month and give us a break and give somebody else a chance. And so I really lucked out. That's all I could say, And pretty soon we knew the circle of all the good musicians, and they are here. There's really good talent here.
Oh, there really is. You and being as accomplished and as good as you are, I'm sure had no problem, finding them very quickly. And like you said, you were the house band there at Casablanca for a long time. We saw you perform there, and you'd pull in people like J-Boy and different guys to play with right. you, and it was always good, always a great night of music. We always enjoyed it.
It was a magnet. We drew people from El Paso and Lubbock, and Ty Grimes used to come up here. You remember Ty?
Yeah.
And J-Boy and Jack Woodbury, Andre. The list goes on and on. But they'd come up and visit and play. And we did some. There was good music.
It was always good, man. Always good. Well, what I want to do right now is I want to have the viewing audience have a little tour of that incredible studio there. Rich, why don't you grab the camera and walk around a little bit and tell us about it?
Well, let me do one thing for you.
Okay.
All right. So this is Richie's new.
Oh, yeah.
But it's not alone. This is mine from 5 years ago.
That's cool. Yeah. That is so cool. Now, was yours for the album, or was that Top Blues song?
It's Top Blues song. It's off of that Dose album, and it's slow blues.
Oh, nice. Excellent. Well,
it was a total album. They didn't have this category before.
Yeah.
Sweet. Yeah.
I thought you might like to see that.
Yeah, I appreciate that. That is so cool.
Well, you can see award-winning studio.
Yeah, that's exactly right, man. With award-winning performers and writers and the whole package. Well, let's go on the tour if that's all right, man.
Sure.
Right,
All right, so we're going to just swing you around. I'll show you just a little bit. Here's our console here. All right.
Yeah.
All right, and then we'll go out the door.
Is that a 24 channel console?
40.
40 channel. 40. Okay, great.
Okay, so we come out here. Here's our little refreshment area where you store stuff in the fridge and all that. And here's a first piano right here. It's a little Yamaha. It's what they call a hybrid. But it sounds beautiful. All right.
A great DW set. I love that set.
Oh, it's a wonderful set. See, get right here and look at that.
What color is that, man? It's not a maple. What is that?
I think it's bamboo.
Bamboo? Yeah, I love that.
Yeah, it's a real pretty set. And it sounds so good, I have to admit. And then we'll go right over here. This is our bass rig here. All right.
Okay, good.
And then here's our other piano. This is a 1900 Mason Hamlin right there. It's a wonderful sounding piano. Okay. And then, of course, you can see, maybe you can catch how big the room is. It's pretty decent size.
Got
and
the,
of course, some
Fender Deluxe there.
Yeah, that's the Johnny Winters amp.
All right.
That I used to record Johnny Winters on whenever I record him 92. Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah, we like Fenders. There's the Fender Deluxe. And here's some Line 6s, but they're not the normal Line 6s. I don't really care too much for the Line 6s, but all three of these are Bogner tube amps.
Oh, right? Okay. Those are hard to come by.
Yeah, they are now. They are. But I have three of them here.
Beautiful.
Back in Houston, I have probably about 3 or 4 of them back there. Those are things that are wonderful.
Very
In fact, all the Dose album was cut on one just like that one right there.
Outstanding.
Mm-hmm. And then over here, this is
RT3. Oh, yeah.
It's a beautiful RT3. And a lot of people don't know what that is, but what it is basically it's the largest Hammond that they ever built. And if you were to record at Abbey Road, this is what you would be playing on.
And it's also got more pedals than the B3.
Oh, yes. Oh, yeah. And, of course, the Leslie's over there.
Yeah.
And you see some of the artwork up there. That's Anika Chambers. I did 3 of her albums, and she's hitting really big right now. In fact, she was at the Music Awards in Memphis last night singing on stage.
Oh, nice.
There's a copy of the Dose album up there. All right.
I love it.
Okay, well, I can that's pretty much the studio, but you want to show you the mountain?
Oh man, yeah, I want to see your back door view. And then everybody can see why you moved up there.
All right, well, just a second. We'll go right out here. It's going to change the lighting a little bit. But this is what we love up here. And the reason why we picked this place is because Sierra Blanca is right. These trees. I'll pick it up so you can see. Look at that.
Oh, man.
Can
you Richard and I were talking yesterday about whether it was going to be viewable today, and it is, man. It's in its splendor. Look at that blue sky and beautiful Sierra Blanca. And you guys get deer, elk, and bear there, right? How often do you get how often do you get the deer and the elk?
They cycle through. They come through about every week or every 2 weeks. Elk seem to cycle about 2 weeks apart,
Nice.
But they come up and there'll be a herd up here around, right up here, maybe 40 of them at a time.
Oh, man. How cool.
Well, Rich actually has the wild horses over at his place.
At my place.
He has the wild horses that just come up to his house.
Oh, wow. Now, you didn't have those horses last time I was there, Rich.
That was a long time ago. But they're around now.
So
there's about birds that come around.
Do you feed them, or do they just eat on?
Well, we did. I stopped feeding them because it was starting to get expensive, and there's plenty of grass. They should really be grazing. And
there's another problem. If you get caught feeding any of these animals, it's a $500 fine.
Right.
Oh yeah. That makes sense.
Yeah. So yes, everybody feeds them a little bit, but don't make a regular habit of it.
Yeah. Oh, this is nice.
Well, our neighbor that moved away, they used to feed them, and they still come around by memory to see if they get fed. but you know,
Yeah.
and, lately, our ring tells you who's been around the neighborhood. Lately, there's been mountain lions not too far from us.
Oh, that's scary.
That's
Oh,
a
wow.
little scary.
Yeah, that's
But,
not good.
Right. So, we live with the animals out here. They're, sometimes they'll go all the way to the downtown area.
They do.
They'll stop traffic.
They will walk across the street, stop everybody.
Well, I remember several years ago seeing some video of a elk herd, and they were crossing Sutter, and cars were stopped and everything, and it was a large herd.
Yeah, we live with the animals, and it's sort of neat.
It really is. Well, let's talk now about the biggie, Bringin in the Blues. Last Sunday night up in Albuquerque, you guys were there and ready to hear who was going to win the awards and everything. And of course, you got the #1 blues album for the state of New Mexico 2023. This album, guys, I've listened to every song on it, and I got to tell you, it's like a fine wine. It really is. It's got tasty components that blend and make it the masterpiece that it is. Man, there's not a song on there that I don't like. And usually when you listen to albums, there's going to be some filler stuff and everything, and then you're going to have the main songs. But everything on this album is so darn good. You've got bass lines that are so great by Eric Unsworth, and you got, he's not the only bass player that played on this album, but I like his styling a lot. And then you've got that earthy and in the pocket drummer of Ricky Malachi. Ricky goes so far back, and you made a great choice when you got him in there, Rich. He's one of the best ones. So it's obvious you pulled in some of the best in the business, and you got one of them sitting there right next to you, man, because he sings incredibly well. In fact, we did what we're going to do here in a little bit is I'm going to play 6 of the songs. We're going to talk about each one of them, but what I really enjoy too about this album is that your flourishes, your guitar work on all of this stuff, Rich, is so good and tasty and so soulful, and you've got, of course, Tommy on the keyboards, and singing as well, which, is the whipped cream and the cherry on top. Because what I really like about this too is that you've got the vocal stylings of multiple singers. You've got yourself, you've got Kathy Lyons, you've got Tommy, you've got Rich Cagle there singing with you. So it's not like you're getting an album and just hearing the same voice on every song. You really did it right. And of course, I think a lot of that is attributed to the fact that you guys were knocking down 2 or 3 projects at the same time, right?
Right. We need to point that out because
that was crazy.
We were doing 3 albums at the same time, and some of them were with the same musician. Well, they were the same musicians, same configuration. They were just different songs. So we were just going through them, and Kathy Lyon came out with one album that was more like a blues album, and she came out with one that's more like a jazz album.
The jazz album.
So that one was called Who Knew. The blues album was called Texas Highway. Unfortunately, we didn't enter them into the contest, but if we'd had, maybe we would have won something, because it's the same configuration, the same sort of sound. And so, I didn't know I was going to win. And, and I took a chance with all the singers, because that could go against you, because most albums have most people go by a single artist, and the artist sings all the songs, and and that's sort of normal. This isn't normal. We took a chance, but it was a good, chance. The other thing we did was some of the songs were duplicated on all the albums, so we sort of doubled down on a lot of stuff, and it seemed to work because we're getting more play, more streams, on her album and my album, and so it sort of worked out.
On today's show, I started out with the "Where's the Love," and of course that was not off of your new album. That was off of your Moss album. So, but if you want, you can talk a little bit about that song, "Where's the Love." Either one of you, go for it.
Yeah. Okay, so "Where's the Love" is about people just too hung up in their daily workload and daily, activities, and they're just being basically overworked, and they forget about their mates and all that. So it's just exactly what the title says. Where's the love? And if you listen to the lyrics, it sort of explains that. We're doing the day-to-day grind, and then where's the love?
Yeah, I didn't play the whole song at the beginning. I just played about a minute and a half. So those of you all that want to hear the whole song, you can go on Rich Chorné YouTube and definitely find it on there. So let's.
Well, the other thing I want to point out on that song is when I record here, there's a certain comfort level where some of the songs we recorded were the guitar tracks were recorded straight through. I didn't go back and overdub. So it's all about the inspiration at the time, so we set up a song, the rhythm section was what we wanted, and then I recorded the guitar track, and I recorded what they call a scratch vocal. And then, but that song was done pretty quickly, and it was pretty much, the guitar work was pretty much first take. And then Richard came in and finished it off with his vocals.
Excellent. Well, let's talk about the first one that I want to play today off the new album, off the winning album. And it's called Checking Up on My Baby, and it's one that you sing, Rich. Why don't you talk a little bit about it?
Well, I wanted to do that sort of easy. I wanted to do a recognizable blues song, and we put two of them on there. And Checking Up on My Baby is a sort of a Sonny Boy Williams standard. It's been around. If you're a blues person, you know about Sonny Boy, and you probably know about that song. So that's, and it's one of the songs in my repertoire that I've had for a long time. So I just decided to do it because it had a lot of comfort level.
Checking up on my baby, find out what she's putting down. I'm checking up on my baby, find out what she's putting down. So many nights and days I've been out of town. I won't even call, I won't even write.
It's a good song. Really good song.
Well, I think it's really a strong song. That's why it ended up on the very first track.
Right.
I just go like, man, you want the radios to play this.
Right.
So when we send it out to radio, that's where they start. And then they'll look at it and they go like, well, what else is in this record? And then they just start digging deeper and deeper.
Right.
And that's basically how I felt when I was going through all the songs. That was the one that first grabbed me, so you're right about that, Rich. It's really got a lot of the good elements in it that you want to grab your audience with from the very get-go. Okay, well, let's talk about number 2, Walkin With My Baby, and this was up for top blues song of the year, and this is done by Rich Cagle. You're on, right, man.
Well,
basically,
I wrote that song and recorded it before and when I was in Maryland with Tommy Lepson, and he sang it. But I just felt that the groove we were in with basically rockin' blues, I thought Rich could do the song better. And not better, that's a bad way to look at it. Just different, and it worked out. The other thing about that song is when I first recorded it years ago, it had a bridge and it had changes of chords. Rich Cagle didn't do the bridge; he sang it straight through like it was a 12-bar blues, and he did a great job of interpreting the lyrics so they would fit, and so they fit.
Now, what was the inspiration on that one?
Let me see. Walkin With My Baby. Well, just when you have a good-looking woman on your side and you're going, downtown or going to an event, you're proud. And I think one of the lines is just like a picture in a storybook.
Yeah.
And it's about walking with your beautiful woman.
There you go. All right. I'd Rather Sleep Alone. I know Kathy Lyon sang this one. Talk about that one.
Well, we both wrote it. I half wrote it, the lyrics. The thing and then she finished it, but the basic idea of the song was about when you can't sleep because all these romantic things are in the way. And, that's sort of a straightforward blues feel. But nobody really ever said, I can't sleep, because of this. And so I thought that was sort of a unique way to look at it, because I don't remember a title like that. Secondly, the bass line and the rhythm of that song is solid, and it's different, and it carries the song through. That was, again, another Eric Unsworth thing.
Sleep last night, I was thinking about you. No, I couldn't sleep last night, I was thinking about you. I can't help wondering what you're feeling, and if our love is true. Tell me that you love me, so why won't you pick up the phone? Oh, you tell me that you love me, so why won't you pick up the phone? No, no. If you don't wanna be with me, well then I'd rather sleep alone.
Very, very good. The song "You Gotta Have Faith." This is one of my favorites. I really like this song.
It is a good one.
Well, that was another what I call an inspiration song. In other words, we were recording, and I always had this vague idea of doing this song, and we were in such a comfort level that I just said, "Let's try this song," and it's real simple. And that's another one of those that guitar work was basically first take all the way through. And it was inspired by the band that was playing it at the time. And we didn't have to go back and do a lot of things to it. We added stuff, but the basic rhythm section, the basic guitar work, it was all sort of inspired. It's called inspiration.
But he also told me whenever we were working on that song, that his dad was one of his favorite quotes.
Yeah, my dad used to always advise me, and he used to say, you got to have faith. And the lyrics speak for the things he told me. He said, you're going to have hard times, but you got to just get through it. You got to have faith, and so, it was from him.
One of the
he passed away, but you know what I'm saying.
You gotta have faith when you're down and out. You gotta have faith when you're running out. You gotta have faith, it'll get you by. You gotta have faith, that's what it's all about. Daddy said there'll be days like this,
Days like this,
when it seems that life is hit or miss.
hit or miss.
Oh, you gotta have faith when you're high and dry. You gotta have faith when you're down and out. Daddy told me there may be hard times ahead,
Times ahead,
when you'll be hanging by a thread.
by a thread.
Oh, you gotta have faith when you're high and dry. You gotta have faith when you're down and out. You gotta have faith, it'll get you by. You gotta have faith, that's what it's all about.
One of the things that I liked about this song is that towards the end, about every 4 bars, that you all are singing that refrain of, you got to have faith, and you keep reminding everybody about 4 or 5 different times as you're going out on the song. And I think that made the impression on me. I really liked hearing that the voices say that over numerous times at the end there.
Right.
Okay.
Well, that was Julia, and she's one of the artists that work here.
Julia Cosby.
Julia Cosby, and she's got her own CD that came out of this studio, and she's very talented. But let me see, what was I going to say about that? Not much more, but I'm really happy with the way it came out, and it was one of those that was inspired from a real life experience. In other words, it's something my dad said, and I just interpreted it into a song. And
Good
it's
for
about
you.
faith. It's as close to being religious as I could get on that album.
There you go. Okay, this next song called "Please Come Home." I know Tommy Lepson sang it. Did he play the organ on that one as well?
No, Tommy didn't play organ on any of my tracks.
Okay.
He's on other CDs, however. He was a B3 player, and he's great CD B3 player. But let's see. What was the song again?
Please come home. Did
that's the one that
Gutierrez play on that one, or who played?
Oh shoot! I have to look at this. I think that was.
I think that was Bud.
It was Bud, or it may have had two keyboardists. Ruben Gutierrez might have played one of the leads.
Yeah.
And the other thing about it is that it's a little different in terms of the excitement level. In other words, there's an artist that I like. His name is Ronnie Earl, and the thing about him is he's not just blasting out and doing killer electric. He just evens it out. So the intention of this song was to have sort of a not that it didn't have emotion, but sort of sort of a low key approach. And then Richard Cagle put his vocal on it, and I gotta say that's one of the songs that gets played the most on some of the streaming services. They're all different, all of them have different favorites.
Really, really nice. Okay, and then What Are We Doing? Another one that you wrote there. Yeah.
Well, I don't know. Have you ever had what's the definition of insanity? You know, what are we doing? You know, we keep on doing crazy stuff. So, you know, the words are pretty straightforward. You know, it's the same old story. You keep on doing the same thing. And then also at the end, I say, there's something you should know. You loved me once, but now I just don't know. So it's about a conflict and a romance that you don't know. You know, you're to the point where you don't know if you should keep on going with a romance, but you always, you know, the buzzword is, and the key phrase is, what are we doing? So that's it.
Before. What are we doing? Seems we've been here before. You tell me that you're sorry, but I can't take it anymore. It's the same old story. How many lies you tell? It's that same old story. How many lies you tell? If it feels good today, tomorrow it hurts like hell. Should know. Oh, babe, there's something you should know. I loved you once, but now I just don't know.
Very good. The one that I'm going to take this show out on is called Shining Star, and and I really like the bass work on this, man. He really is in a very cool groove. I really like that song. But before I take it out, what I want to ask you guys is if there are any other stories or anything that you'd like to share. I really enjoyed doing this show with you guys today, and I wanted to give you an opportunity to make any final comments or anything that you might want to share with everybody.
Well, the only one I'm really grateful that you're doing this. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you very much for
and it's sort of we're sort of a one-man show or a two-man show right now. So we have a publicist, and in this case, we're not using them, but we appreciate this kind of promotion, and so we got to do it a little more. We got to be a little better. I mean, the business is so wide and so complex. One person can't do everything, and then so even recording, we can't do it all. But you need a team. But in this case, we're very grateful for this opportunity here, and we'll look for some more, and we'll find some more.
Well, I'm glad to be a part of your team, man, because I'm a major fan. I'm a cheerleader of what you guys are doing, and I think your collaboration was meant to happen. It really is very good, which the music on the album is a testament to that. You know, do you have any final thoughts, Richard?
Well, it's always wonderful to do music. Okay, we're musicians from when we were little kids, right. Really. And so for us to continue to be able to do that, come up with new stuff and actually get it out to the world, that's actually really rewarding, And I think we'll continue to do that until we die.
I think so. I think we're, there's not much choice at this point. But no, it's fun. And, and to do it at this level is a real privilege. And I didn't expect that to happen until I met Mr. Cagle. And the other thing is, this studio, it's inspirational. So, I encourage people that thinking about a project to come this way and
sure, come on up.
Come on up. It's easy. It's comfortable. It's cool.
Well, that's why I wanted a tour, because I picked up on that from the get-go, man. I mean, when you take us into that room, it just looks like a place that needs to be played in, man. That great DW kit there, and that B3 wannabe, I mean the RT3. It's just, man, it's all there, man. I mean, no one needs to do anything but just grab their axe and get their rear ends up there and make the magic happen,
That's true.
It's pretty quick. There's not a lot of downtime in trying to set up or having to fix problems. It's pretty quick. Mm-hmm. The other thing is on my other projects, all the projects I've done here, there's just a positivity to it. Everybody's very positive. Wants everything to be, a success. And there's not a whole lot of drama or negativity or any of that stuff. And we're just there to make good music, and everybody's into it.
Yeah.
Good for you guys. Thank you for being a part of Talkin' Rock with us today, guys. And we're going to close this segment out with Shining Star.
So bright.